Never. We love you too much for that.
I love you.
May this love find everyone who seeks it. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir du Vide, and today I'd like to play the final build of Sacrarium Pario. You play as a super powerful and well-known mercenary who is, captured on a pirate ship, and so your captors were afraid to sail into something called the Blood Ocean, where a terrifying urban legend is said to live. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly who we encounter. Much like Hamos and the other Squarium game, this is Violo. Violo is cursed as the creator. He's also blind and very, very cute. Violo kidnaps us and takes us back to his creepy island in the Blood Ocean. We meet his creation and lover, Vivere, who doesn't seem too happy that we're here. We learn that Violo usually doesn't keep captives more than 7 days. That's about as much time as we have to survive. We overhear him talking to the other living gods through a magic mirror, Amare, Nakare, and Hamos from the game Sacrarium Pario. Together you formulate a plan to get you off of the island, because apparently you shouldn't be there, so the other living gods wants to help you get off the island. They formulate a plan to send you a boat when the waters are ready. Meanwhile, there's something inside you that Violo is extremely interested in. He noticed it right from the beginning, but apparently you have some kind of magic void inside of your body. A void that he seems to be able to dump endless magic into. Apparently, the void in your soul would enable you to kill a god. And since this void can be passed genetically, the gods don't want you walking around no more. On Violo's island, neither the gods nor the devils can reach you, so for the time, you're safe. However, the fact remains that you might need to escape these two. Unless you can get them to really like you, you're still not safe. However, these two don't seem that bad.
Everybody got that?
Oh, it's so good to see these two again. I met his smile with a nod. I trusted them to at least want to keep me safe. Whether Amare was really a threat or not, I wasn't sure. I still had some time to think about it. Oh yeah, weren't the people who were gonna save me, gonna end up betraying me? Violo and Vivere remained tense ever since their morning revelation. The pair worked tirelessly, intertwining their spells across the entire island. It was easy to sense the shifts in the air with my third eye. Just looking at a single window would reveal dozens of spells crawling across the glass. Ooh. They really did seem to believe my life was in more active danger. Needless to say, their big surprise caught me off guard.
Hello!
Espoir, come with me. An experiment? No. Well, there is a final experiment going on, but I'm not asking you to come with me for that. Vivere and I are going to stretch our legs on the beach some. We figured you might enjoy getting the time outside. It's been a while since you've walked on sand. On the beach? Can we look for seashells? Really? I can go? I wouldn't invite you out if you couldn't. That would be mean. Come on, it'll be nice to walk on sand again, don't you think? I took his hand. He began to tug me gently along. Aren't you two very busy right now? Well, very. I don't think I've slept longer than 6 hours in a while. But that doesn't mean we should just leave you to pace around. I know this has to be frustrating enough for you. The gods want to kill you, and then one of your only initially friendly faces ends up being a traitor. Honestly, considering the long con Amare's been running on the gods, I wouldn't be surprised if they think it is their doing. Long con? They've been playing the part of remorseful prisoner for thousands of years. As far as the gods think, Amare is their traitor amongst the living gods, constantly feeding them intel. Oh, okay, so are they like a triple agent? Never mind the fact that most of that intel is fabricated or fudged. As annoying as their duplicity can be at times, it is an art form. Violo pauses for a moment. His grip on my hand tightened. Violo? Sorry. I shouldn't be letting them darken my thoughts like this. Vivere would be quite cross if he knew I was bothering you with this.
What?
Bothering Espoir with what, exactly?
My love.
Nothing. Just some spell semantics. Fine. Keep your secrets. I'll bully it out of him eventually. Aw. Maybe. I could also feel like being stubborn. I have ways of making you break, my love. That is, besides the point. I hope Violo didn't interrupt you doing something. No, I was just kind of staring at the wall. Not really. I don't have much to do. We really have to fix that. I know we constantly make this promise, but it will get better. Going out on the beach will help. How are we getting to the beach, though? This way, treasure. The pair stood on either side of me. Despite their happy and relaxed-looking posture, I could sense the tension. Vivere's breathing sounded slightly more wheezy. Oh yeah, the part where you almost died. Violo's head kept tilting ever so slightly to the left and the right. If this is going to worry you two a lot, I can stay in the castle. You've already been stuck in here for ages, though. I assure you, there's nothing else we are far more worried about than our future intruder. What's that? You leaving, of course. His hand came up to brush my cheek as we reached the edge of the gardens. The small balcony here led to a sheer drop, like every other possible exit to this place. We can handle it. Let us prove how much we want you to stay. Violo stood on the edge of the balcony and stepped right off. To no one's surprise, he didn't plummet. He turned around and helped Vivere up as well. Then he held his hand out to me again. We can't let you leave, but we can do this much. The two looked at me so earnestly in that moment. It reminded me of some of the people in my past, specifically my lovers. Tee. The few that didn't betray me. I took in a sharp breath and stewed on my thoughts for a bit. The two didn't rush me while I came to terms with where my mind was headed. Was I really beginning to see these two as potential lovers? Some part of me worried I should have been more concerned about that than I was. I reached up and accepted Violo's grip. I clutched onto him a bit too tightly when I stepped out, onto absolutely nothing. The air beneath my feet felt rock solid and sturdy, much like Vivere's arm when he folded my hand into his elbow.
Treasure.
It's very disorienting at first, I know. But don't worry, he hasn't dropped... that's reassuring. He hasn't dropped on someone in a few centuries. What happened to the person he dropped? I accidentally let you drop 3 feet one time. Truly, it was traumatic. Be glad you have Espoir holding on to you, my sunshine. I certainly expect the brave Duvee to protect me from your machinations, my love. They are so cute together. The two snipped back and forth the entire walk down. I kept my eyes forward instead of down, lest vertigo make me trip. Ooh. The strangest sound reached us once we were only a bit above the beach. A woman's voice sobbed uncontrollably between whimpers. It didn't echo from any given direction. Instead, it persisted everywhere. What's that sound? Is there someone stuck here? Oh, right. You can't hear it from up in the castle. We reached the ground, but I didn't feel the crunch of sand under my feet. No, we continued to stay just above the ground. A small bit of light popped onto Violo's hand. It turned into a little mouse. He bent down at the waist and let the thing go on the beach. The sobs turned into agonizing shrieking. Oh. The little mouse trotted along, ears not even flicking in response. Oh, okay. Good morning, Mother. I hope the sand's been chafing as usual. He stretched his arms out before relaxing again. The screams turned into pained gargles. Wowie! Now that's... now I thought the most creative punishment that I've ever come up with for a fictional character was turning them into a living rosebush. But he turned his father into a backward-walking necromorph, and I thought, oh, that's pretty tough. But turning your mother, who probably abused you, into an entire beach? Wowie! That gives a new term to son of the beach. Ha! The screams turned into pained gargles.
She must have passed out. Pathetic thing.
Mother? Like, really? Your mother?
Yes, the only thing she was ever good for was her shrieking, so we use her as an alarm system. She's an amphimorphous blob that the sand has been specifically instructed to keep partially submerged. She's all raw nerves and vocal cords now, sobbing while feeling like she's being skinned alive over and over.
Let me just write that down for punishments for fictional characters.
Pressure makes the torment worse, and she starts screaming. All it takes is one bootfall for us to know if someone has set foot where they shouldn't be. The sobbing alone tends to make people hesitate.
Why is she blob under the sand?
Because she was a horrible person. You've seen the results of her handiwork.
Violo rubs his arms briefly. The network of scars I'd seen on him last time came to mind.
She was just as violent and pathetic as her husband.
Oh, okay. So let's start doing the Macarena on this sand here. Actually, no. Let's not do the Macarena. Let's do the cha-cha slide instead. That's more footwork.
Frankly, the two of them should be happy we've even given them something to do. I was more of a fan of putting them in a dark jar that's slowly filled with water and drained over and over again. Instead, they get to have some purpose in their pathetic lives. That aside, feel no pity for this woman. She's a founding contributor to that which you hate most.
That which I hate most? Vivere opened his mouth and closed it. I could see the gears in his head turn.
I've said too much. Don't beat yourself up too much, my sunshine. I know Mother gets you worked up. Still, I shouldn't have run my mouth.
My sunshine.
It's fine.
Violo paused, grinding his teeth for a moment.
My parents are the original founders of the Tourmaline Ring.
Oh! The pirate people!
Back then, the slave trade wasn't international. It all happened within countries, never the seas. Then my rich, noble family got involved, and I had no idea. They fattened their coin purses and the coin purses of their friends, all to overthrow that already crappy emperor for a worse one.
Why?
The one before that bastard upheld the firstborn. First right law that said only the firstborn can inherit titles and power. Healthy male heirs were preferred. The infant death rates among nobles got so high they had to establish a law to prevent private births. Needless to say, when Violo was born not the preferred gender and with early signs of future illnesses, his family was not pleased. It was unpleasant. It got worse when my little brother was born. Then, when they got the law abolished, I found out their dealings when their slavers tried to take me. I slaughtered them, of course. My parents were fuming when I came home alive. I looked into it and realized what they'd done, and I started backing the native and poor revolutionaries, planning to overthrow it all. I set that country ablaze with the blood of the greedy nobles before my imprisonment. Sadly, the ring persisted. I've destroyed the thing twice, but it keeps coming back. Different people, same greed, same monsters. I leave only the stories of old. The bastards use them as memories of the good old days and rebuild again. You've done the best you can. Besides, it's karma and fate and those other lazy louts that are supposed to be dealing with their punishments.
Yeah, where's karma in all this? Come on.
It's a cross to bear. I may never be able to get rid of it, but I'll keep trying. Perhaps that's something you can help with, treasure.
Absolutely.
It'll be in line with your previous work. True, I'd been hoping to lighten my control of the seas. Wouldn't it be fun to right the wrongs in the world again, Espoir?
Absolutely. Let's do it. It would be. Let's do it, 100%. I started my career out of necessity, but on some level, I did still want to help people. You two have the most ridiculous looks on your faces.
We do not.
Do so.
Maybe still. I'm glad you agree. We spent a long time thinking about things you could do once the gods are dealt with. Someone like you can settle the rest, but it's hard to see you sitting anywhere for too long. He's going to be insufferable that you obviously favor his idea before I've even mentioned one of mine.
This was a discussion that generated that many different ideas?
Of course. Short conversations are for dull topics and cutting corners. We wanted to have some ideas before we brought it up to you.
The two edged closer into my personal space while chattering about their previous conversations. They'd certainly had detailed meetings without me, and they were adamant that they had to include me in them in the future.
If we're going to have you continuing your previous work, we should probably introduce you to the Seaguard.
Seaguard?
Merfolk and Leviathans. Think of them as an underwater army.
Merfolk! Merfolk? Real merfolk? Mermaids! The two just grinned and led me closer to the water. Apparently we'd had an audience this whole time. Just a bunch of little heads poking out of the water. The tops of their heads, covered in wild hair and fins, just barely poked out of the water. The water seems even darker than usual, deep red with living shadows. Ah!
These are our lovely Seaguard members. Excuse the merfolks acting like riled-up cats. They've only slightly smarter than crows at the moment. I don't know, crows are pretty smart.
I thought you said you couldn't make new things, or intelligent things.
Without a base, I cannot. The merfolk are a combination of 20 to 40 different things.
Work is never done.
They are my longest-running experiment. While I cannot create sentience, nurture and time will develop some for them.
Oh.
It's far from perfect. It took 5 to 6 generations for them to get this smart, and well, they're still a bit dull and instinct-focused.
Oh.
Says the man whose first thought when he saw fire the first time was to touch it. Despite having all the logical reasons why not to touch fire.
As expected.
I was an hour old.
It's an achievement either way. And the Leviathans? Are they big? Can I never, ever see them?
Those are some of our old flowers, ones who grew old and died. They still wanted to help the world. Many were victims of the ring themselves. They hunt them down like dogs, and enjoy it a lot. Adversity makes for strong souls, allowing them to transfer and adapt to a body that will not age. It took a few tries to get it right. I only test new things on scum now. One mistake that left a flower bruised was enough.
Treasure.
Actually, treasure. You should put your blood in the water.
What?
If they taste and smell your blood, they'll be able to recognize you quickly. Do it with us here, and they'll know that means you're a resident here. Think of it like letting someone's hound sniff your hand to grow familiar with your scent.
Aw, alright. Cute. I'd been around enough trained guard animals to know to listen to their owner's advice. Besides, what harm would a bit of blood do? If anything, it could actually save my skin. I accidentally fall in the water and the mermaid's like, "Don't eat this one!" Will they be able to find me if I'm bleeding in the water?
Of course. The Leviathans will be able to smell your blood up to 100 miles away. It's actually quite common for our flowers to drop some blood in the sea if they live nearby. That way, should the ring or anyone else try to haul them off, they're just one drop of blood away from safety.
They go out that far? I asked, while holding my hand out for something to prick my finger with.
They've got migratorial patterns that cover the whole world at this point.
He cut open the pad of his thumb with one of his nails. The dark blood that poured out into a thin needle. It then, raced out to prick my pinky finger carefully. A small bit of blood pooled on it. I bent down and stuck my hand in the water, wincing at the salt. I watched the shapes in the water inch closer out of curiosity. With Vivere and Violo on the other side of me, I didn't feel particularly threatened. I would!
I wonder if they'd take to a human leader. Even if we did unleash you on the seas again, you'd need a crew.
A crew of merfolk? It's a dream come true. I could make some modifications. Vivere reached out to me. I held up my unpricked hand, but he just shook his head with a smile.
Treasure.
This one, treasure. He guided my hand to Violo, who promptly healed the almost unnoticeable prick. Was that really necessary? It could heal on its own. Vivere pulled my hand to his mouth to kiss the back of it. Of course it was, treasure. Your hands are very important. You both are ridiculous. I felt my heart twist at care all the same. We walked for a bit longer. I scanned the vast horizon that I'd become all too familiar with during my time here. The pair eventually had to excuse themselves to get back to work, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I laid out on the beach, surprised when the air elements didn't let up. Opening my third eye revealed that I held everything's attention. Even the sand beneath me perked up when it felt my magic roll across it. Far out on the edges of my perception, I could sense the curious creatures still hovering around me. The pair really had done a lot of groundwork to integrate me into their home. I ran my hand through the air, feeling the tiny elementals dance against my skin. There was no fight for attention, no need to demand respect. Under this red sky, I now had some kind of authority. It felt more than a little nice. It felt like something I could get used to. It felt like something I wanted to get used to. Was it? I half expected them to cling to me, but they were surprisingly mature. If I bumped into them, they'd chat with me and spend time with me, but they didn't hover. They were more present than they were before, though. Vivere practically skipped to show me the archery range they'd added to the side of the castle. He also presented a few dozen bows that he'd apparently gotten from some of their flowers. An undercurrent of anxiety persisted all the same. Beneath the warmth and gentle expressions, I'd see that old menace flare up from time to time. They reminded me of tense hounds, pausing to nuzzle their master's leg, even with their heckles raised.
Dear.
Yes, honey bunch.
Treasure, could you come to my study? I need to handle some final tasks regarding you.
I still startled a bit at the sound of his voice on the wind. I certainly preferred this gentler treatment to having an aberration haul me around, but it would take some time. Sure, give me 10.
There's no rush.
I found Violo toiling away as usual. He looked less exhausted and fatigued than he had when Vivere was sick.
Treasure, I'm glad to see you.
You're the one who called me here.
I can still be happy you arrived.
Tee! He walked over to me and gave me a half bow. I raised a brow and jokingly extended my hand like some maiden. He snatched it up for a knightly kiss before I could even react. Hey, honestly.
Aww.
You're adorable when you're flustered.
I'm not flustered. I don't get flustered.
So I take it the air elementals letting me know your skin is hotter than usual is a lie?
Oh, no.
Or that faster heart rate I can feel is a delusion?
I put my hand on his face and pushed him back a bit. He conceded the space. What did you want me for?
I need to take some last-minute samples. I've gone through most of the ones I got from you before.
And you still need more?
Yes, it's vexing, but making errors with your samples often means losing the entire thing. I don't have the time for more methodical testing, and brute force leads to frequent mistakes. This will be the last time, though. I just need enough to finish the alteration plans for my body. Once that's done, I'll be able to test things with my own blood.
Very well. What harm would a few more samples cause? He'd cut me open plenty of times at this point. I don't like how you're wording that, MC. What's the other thing? You mentioned a couple of things. He surprised me by stewing in silence. He straightened himself up to his full height before answering.
I have to take away your fertility.
But, isn't that important? What?
From what I've observed, you already have an abnormally low fertility rate. The nature of the gate within you makes it very hard for you to generate the potential needed to make new life. However, the ability is still there. So as long as it is, neither Amare nor the gods can be placated. For once, I am in agreement with them. If you had a bloodline, a legacy, it would destroy the world. It may take thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of years to do so, but it would be a catastrophe. Humans would eventually lose their magic. The magic of this world would crack and break. Frankly, it would cause the entire structure of reality to shatter. You must be the only one.
Aw, man. So I can't have any super powerful MacGuffin babies?
His words sank into me slowly. The pair had glossed over my threat to the world the last time we spoke about this, like it was nothing.
Didn't they say it like it was a good thing?
Having Violo spell it out in more detail, with the weight of the world on his shoulders, really snapped it into perspective. Violo had no reason to lie to me about this. All the same, I felt,
I'm not angry, not lost. I'm pretty calm about it.
Is that all? Kind of. Obviously, we'll be in a hard spot. How so? Amare will want to see you firsthand to prove I'm not lying. I won't let that happen, though. I can't trust them to not kill you, which means we'll still be in a bit of a state for a few decades. But that's no time at all.
Maybe for you? That'd be most of my remaining lifespan.
What on earth are you talking about? I'd never let you die. You will live as long as you want.
So, you're gonna make me immortal?
I snorted like it was a joke. I mean, not exactly, but close enough.
What? Aren't the others going to have an issue with this?
It's not like they can stop me. I've already given them a massive concession by asking for this, which means they'll have to suck it up. But your longer life is a conversation for another time. Would it be okay to start?
Yeah, go ahead. Experiment away.
Violo set about putting me to sleep. In a way, it was a relief to see that the energy had returned to his tools. They didn't stumble or trip like they had during his frantic haze before. Apparently, another benefit of the salient was that it allowed him to better use magic on me.
Oh.
Meaning I didn't have to take that strong of a drug. I sank into the darkness, jolting at the icy chills that ran across my body. Instead of my consciousness slipping away, I felt awake, despite how far down I'd gone. My body felt like a piece of paper being thrown around in turbulent, cold winds. The silent scream that ripped out of me left my chest aching. The dark shadows around me began to twist and hiss and melt. Dark thorns began to wrap into familiar, hostile faces. I could barely twist my body enough to dodge echoes of attacks that left me half dead before. The wind tunnel beating against my eardrums turned into pained screams. Sobs of families I'd failed, combined with curses spat at me. Even covering my ears did nothing. I kept sinking further and further, screaming and thrashing. Eventually, something snagged me. My body bent awkwardly around an overgrown bramble. I felt like a leaf being shoved against a twig in a thunderstorm. It hurt. Dreams weren't supposed to hurt. I needed someone to help me.
Violo!
Something grabbed me then, and all of it stopped. I felt like I was suspended in a dark pool. No sound, no light, no pain, no suffering. I could only get the vaguest of sensations of heavy footsteps. Each footfall made my new environment shake ever so slightly. With a pop, I was carried out of dark waters into an abstract painting. The colors and shapes of the ground beneath me continued to change. In the sky, all I could see was a massive human form in place of the moon, curled in on itself. Where its head should be, glittering stones scattered about instead, making a circular shape around it. I couldn't tell what was ground and what was horizon. I tried to focus on that figure in the sky, but it became blurry and too bright. I was left with no choice but to look away. The
The wild colors and smells at least were positive this time, bright and welcoming. "There you are." The voice echoed around me in every direction. It sounded slightly like Violo, but higher pitched, calmer. "You slipped right through me, little one. So sorry." The ground beneath me became soft. "Maximiliano messed up his spell. You're not supposed to be awake in here." I felt the lightest pressure of a massive fingertip nudging me onto my side. "Rest. It's too much for you right now." The air smelled like treats from my childhood. The sounds of my old friends laughing and playing caused my attention to bleed away. "I've got you. I won't let my little spider bite you either. I made a promise to little Maxie. I intend to keep it." I could feel the fight sinking out of me. I had so many questions, but I couldn't ask. I awoke to Violo, gently stroking my cheek.
Treasure, can you hear me? Daydream told me that you were lucid dreaming for a bit. Are you all right? I swear I didn't expect that to happen.
I sat up suddenly, ignoring the pain and stiffness in my body to wheeze. The dream I'd had felt like nothing more than water passing between my fingers. The only thing that remained was the feeling of panic turning into relief. That didn't feel like a dream.
Lucid dreamers aren't dreaming. They're waking in the realm of the fragments of dream.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot. Daydream is a person who's trapped in a place who Violo's trying to help. Normal dreamers float in there, unconscious and monitored for their safety.
Their safety?
Yes. Nightmare's ring, where you ended up, is the last safe place for a human to be. If you go out past that point, you're not longer bound by this reality, which means no coming back to your body. Whenever I render someone comatose, I do that by tossing them out there. Where they go, even the fragments don't know, but they can't come back. I specifically asked Fantasy to keep an eye on you, to make sure you stay under his care. Apparently I messed up a few of the runes on the spell and sent you down too fast.
Wait, so was your real name Maximiliano? That's such a cool name.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize it had happened until I zoned out a bit, and Daydream came to me.
You zoned out while working on my body? I trust you.
Well, yes. Stitching is a monotonous task for me. I can do it in my sleep. Don't worry, I didn't make any other mistakes.
I felt the lingering tension in my body calm down. Eventually, I realized just how much control Violo apparently had over my dreams. Why does he do that? Why would you waste a favor from a god?
Waste? A favor?
Surely you can have the traitor god doing something else?
You'd think, but no. As much as the fragments aid us, their help is limited. Fantasy was frankly happy I asked him to do something he can do.
Oh.
I am sorry that I had a slip-up again.
It's okay. Everything else went well?
Yes, everything else went smoothly. Thank you so much for working with me again today.
Yeah, of course. You're my little pumpkin boo. Violo sat with me for a while longer, always finding another reason to stick with me. Eventually, an aberration crawled in with its head low, letting out a soft bellow. It went like, "Mrrr."
I'm out of time for today. I'll see you for dinner, Treasure.
I waved at him, before remembering that was a bit of a stupid thing to do. Despite my assurances to Violo, I did still feel stiff. I didn't rush to get out of bed. Instead, I slowly started to stretch out my limbs. Nothing pulled or twinged, and I didn't feel like vomiting. I ended up standing too fast and had to sit back down. Eventually, I was able to make small laps around the room again. The fragrance of the flowers grew stronger. Come in, Vivere.
How cute.
How did you know?
The flowers always perk up when you're around.
Ah, well, I suppose I can't blame them.
Vivere settled down on the bed, a small gaggle of earth creatures carried in trays of food and drink.
This bed is horrible.
It's the best I've slept on.
Oh, darling, we have to fix that. I'll dig up some of our better beds. Honestly, we might need to just move you to a new room. You are a decent ways away from ours.
Maybe I like the space.
Fair enough. We should still get you a bit closer. As fast as we can be. Reducing distance would solve a lot of safety issues.
You two talk like you get raided every other day.
Of course.
Depending on the season, yes. More than a few idiots have tried to slay the dragons, so to speak. Thus, it's better to be prepared. Speaking of living arrangements, what kind of room would you prefer? Any specific architecture, furniture, colors? I'm planning on redecorating soon.
Why are you asking me?
What?
Because your opinion on our home is important? Besides, it's not like Violo is going to give me much of an opinion.
Yeah, I have a few options.
Wonderful. It will be so nice to get some proper help around here. I swear, the most Violo will give an opinion on is fabric texture, which, all things considered, makes sense, but Father is no help either.
The questions to follow were adorably long and very thorough. It surprised me how difficult it was to come up with opinions at times. I'd never really had to think about inane things like pillows or chairs before. Vivere kept the mood light and the conversation going, but I could see a new fire burning in him. The fire of redecorating! You know, I wonder...
Wonder what, treasure?
What makes me worth this kind of attention?
What?
It's not a matter of being worth anything. Is it truly so strange to think we like you?
I don't really know what there is to like.
Treasure.
Oh, treasure. The sexiest thing to me is someone with a brain. You may not be the most educated, but you're quick on the uptake and capable of wonderful conversations. I know Violo enjoys your curiosity at times, too. What can I say? We enjoy competent individuals. You are one.
He was teasing me, but I could hear the genuine intention behind his words.
Since you're still having doubts, I suppose that means we haven't been explaining ourselves well enough. That's something we can amend.
I coughed awkwardly, trying to organize my thoughts.
Let's not forget the fact that you didn't immediately start worshipping us. Even when we were at our most terrible, you treated us like bad people, not bad gods. It's been ages since someone treated us like human beings. It's no surprise at all, really.
I tensed when his demeanor changed. Vivere? You good, honey bunch?
Apologies. Something has come up. I must deal with it urgently. I cannot wait to see you later.
Like wind, he was gone, leaving me much like a leaf in his wake. They always found ways to leave me with a lot to think about. I really hadn't expected the plants to actually let me down onto the beach. Yet there I was, feet hovering above the sand, while I walked at a leisurely pace. My attempts to enter the jungle that dominated most of the island were foiled by the leaves turning into rock-hard walls. That left me with only the sand and the bloody horizon. I couldn't help but constantly pace. I debated trying to lap around the entire island, but I didn't want to drift too far from the castle. There was supposedly someone waiting to take my life, after all. Oh yeah, can't forget about that. Even though I walked alone, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Well, I'd gotten used to the constant, almost cloying attention of the nearby elementals, but it wasn't their suffocating presence that had me on edge. No, I could feel a pair of eyes staring at me. Eventually, I finally caught him. He looked like a massive bug on the cliffs above me. The red of his skin blended in with the color of the stone. That, combined with his green stripes, made him look like a bit of an odd foliage, if you didn't look too closely. I'd caught him right as he shifted the yellow underbelly of his serpentine lower half to face the rock face again. My eyes darted around, looking for Vivere. I sniffed the air a bit, smelling no change. His father just stayed motionless on the cliff.
Sup?
The large man looked about a few times, his tail swished in confusion. When he realized that I was indeed staring directly at him, he arched his back at an inhumane angle to look back at me. A powerful torso rested atop of a serpentine lower body. Wild hair fell around him, filled with foliage and stones. Wheel-sized eyes grew widened in surprise, and I watched a mouth full of rows of razor-sharp teeth open at a small, "Oh."
I'm really glad that there's not a visual of that.
He let go of the cliff, and I braced myself in time for the thud of his weight hitting the ground. I wobbled a bit before huffing at him. "Hey, you almost knocked me out of my delicious booty cheeks." His shoulders shook, and he tossed his head back silently. "Oh, don't tell me you used telepathy to speak." A vicious grin was my answer. "Son of a—" Faintly, I could smell wildflowers on the wind. I just sighed and gave his father a dry look. "Have you been following me since I came outside?" He shook a hand in a so-so way. "After?" He shook his head no. "Before?" He nodded. "Why?" He pointed to where I could find Vivere power-walking to us. I let out an annoyed sigh.
Father, you weren't supposed to be caught.
"What can I say? I'm really good at Where's Waldo?" His father just shrugged. "How long has your dad been shadowing me?"
Only if you promise to not be mad at me.
"I won't be. We're boyfriends now."
A day after we confirmed the risk of Snake arriving on Pario.
That long? I could understand not letting the protected know that they were being tailed. That knowledge could alter their behavior in a way that would ruin the whole point of having a secret guard. Still, it had been days.
I just wanted to make sure you were safe. It won't be permanent, of course.
Safe? Why do I need him shadowing me? I can defend myself.
Not against something like Snake. Snake is a melee combatant with speed just below Violo's and strength just below mine. As skilled as you are, Espoir, you are nothing in the face of half of our power, let alone nearly equal. Father is specifically designed with a safety area in his abdomen. We have it from me. It's basically God-proof. The plan was, should Snake attack, Father would grab you, put you in the protective orb in him and run.
Like Freddy Fazbear?
He stands a far better chance than you do, treasure.
Okay. I had a prison cell following me. I think I want to just go through this, getting the good ending. Thank you. It was an endearing idea. I appreciated my sunshine. These two really went above and beyond, didn't they? I could feel myself melting a bit at the sentiment. How long had it been since I had someone I could rely on to protect me? Ages, honestly. I couldn't help but smile.
Someone looks giddy.
Just a bit. It's nice to be worried about.
I assure you that we will always be fretting over you.
I don't want to cause you any unnecessary trouble, though, so I'll head back inside.
It's no trouble at all for you to be outside. You can't go into the jungle yet, for your own safety, but the beach is fine.
I don't want to be a hassle.
Treasure.
You're never a hassle, treasure.
His eyes flickered down and to the right. Violo had to be talking to him. I waited for him to regain his focus. Vivere's eyes were unfocused. Eventually, he refocused on me.
Violo wishes to speak with you.
I thought he wouldn't need me for another experiment.
It's not for an experiment. He's just had something happen.
Vivere?
Something sounded off with him, but he told me to go tend to other things. So I'll leave checking on him to you. Take care of him, treasure.
I nodded. You got it, boyfriend. The castle air felt heavy again. Oh no. I could feel the floor slightly tremble, and the beams and pillars bent and straightened. The hot, sticky air had small blades of ice cutting through it. It only got colder the closer I walked to Violo's study. His shrill voice echoed broken parts of an argument. Uh-oh.
What is it going to take to make you understand? When have I ever lied to you, Hamos? We're not cycling back to that again.
Hamos's cold, tight voice echoed from the mirror.
I have no desire to upset. Yes, the mortal of yours that you would freak out if you raised your voice. After all, heaven forbid someone be upset or yell. Amari has never done anything wrong. Is that not suspicious? It's a sign that they're a good person, unlike you.
Hey, my two friends are fighting. I rolled back on my heels a bit, debating what to do. Violo, you good?
What?
Ah, Treasure, I'm sorry.
I gave him a comforting smile.
I can wait outside.
He curled in on himself slightly, a different kind of stress pinching his features. Truly, he looked all kinds of shaken up. I found myself frowning at Hamos, wondering what he'd done to rile Violo up this badly. It's okay.
I guess it's no one's surprise you conflate harsh actions and love. You're the type to send poison to the people you care about. I do not. I send poison to people I hate. People I hate. Like you sanctimonious phallic object head. Ah! You come in here all high and mighty about my threat to Espoir, but balk when I tell you Amari's the real problem. You're blind and arrogant. And you don't have a good stack record of reasonable responses to situations. That's rich coming from you. Last I heard, you descended down a mountain to mess with the humans that touched yours.
Hey, that part was pretty sick.
That is not the same. So rules for me, but not for thee. I'm glad you're living up to your hypocrite title.
I saw this conversation going nowhere productive. Violo, you wanted to speak with me? Violo's body shook with tension, but he strangled his rage down into a calm, slightly frantic tone.
I did.
The mirror went silent.
Just hung up the phone on him.
Oh no, my boyfriend husband is crying! Violo slumped against a nearby table, shaking his head and mouthing words silently to himself. Violo! He rubbed his face roughly.
Sorry, Treasure. He has a way of getting under my skin. I decided to warn Nakare and Hamos about Amari's betrayal. Nakare is still going to send the boat, but she's going to be more vigilant about who's on it. Hamos is being an idiot, as per usual.
Violo rocked on his heels, trying to control his breathing.
They never listen to me, even when I'm right. Well, Nakare kind of does. She's aloof when it comes to most things, though, and she doesn't take sides. Focused on her goals and nothing else. At least I can appreciate the straightforwardness. It's the snow crow that drives me up the wall. Hamos, the deceiver, is right.
His sharp words reverted back to annoyed grumbling. Hamos the Deceiver? Is that what they call him?
It's what the gods call him. I think the Isles call him the Mountain King.
I nodded. That was his most popular title. Most people only knew he lived on a mountain, after all. Do you think Hamos is lying about what he knows?
No, I more so mean that he isn't a man of his word. He told me when we first met that we would be great friends, but look at what we are now. He's got some holier-than-thou god complex about not directly killing or hurting things. I thought it was cute at first. I even actually took some of his advice, but he rarely takes mine. When he found out that I wasn't hurt in a way that made me cute and vulnerable and easy to coddle, when he found out my pain had some bite, he dropped me like a hot coal. And it hurt.
Aww. Come here. You're getting pats. You're getting back pats. The quick pat turned into a hug when he began to sob again. Oh, did you have a thing and then that thing went bad?
Violo practically collapsed against me, clinging close. I worried about the sounds his knuckles were making, how hard he was gripping my clothing. A small, tearing sound answered that.
Oh,
I let out a fond huff before stroking the back of Violo's head. It's okay. Amos is being unreasonable now, but he'll understand one day. I offered other words of comfort, growing more concerned when it seemed to make it worse. Slowly, his emotions subsided into small sniffles.
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, I definitely didn't expect this to be how I spent lunch.
Me either, but it's part of life sometimes.
I really am sorry.
Hush, don't be. You were upset. Upset people cry. It's okay.
Upset people with important things to say probably shouldn't, though.
He paused to straighten himself out a bit. Once he'd righted himself, he began to speak.
Tomorrow is the equinox. I will be casting a very large spell. It is also the day the other three had planned to collect you, since I will probably be very weak.
Oh, man.
That window is also when Snake will most likely be active to try and kill you. Amare will probably try to contact you tomorrow. Should that happen, ignore their advice and find one of us immediately.
I won't be anywhere near the mirror more than likely. How can they contact me? Yeah!
They're particularly close with Daydream, making it easier for them to slip through my spells. So please be safe tomorrow.
He gripped my hands tightly.
I want to be able to spend eternity with you, treasure. Don't cut that short. I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep you safe. I promise.
I know. Violo fussed over me a bit more before shooing me out to finish some last-minute things. Tomorrow was the important day. I sat on the bed, surprised when it was softer than the one I had before. I laid back against it, chuckling a bit at the mental image of Vivere meticulously picking it out. While I stared at the ceiling, I came to terms with what I was feeling. I felt safe here. It wasn't perfect. It probably never would be. It was an opportunity, though, and I'd be a fool to pass it up. When that boat came tomorrow, I'd turn it away. I was staying. I'm staying with my husbands. I woke up to the taste of iron and soil. The sealant made my arm feel a bit hotter than usual, but I didn't feel any pain. The spell had begun. I pondered how I was going to get rid of the ship while getting ready.
David?
My shoulders straightened, and I whirled around to find a small orb of golden fire hovering in the room.
There you are. Wonderful. Violo's spells were quite the hassle to work through.
Amare sounded like they were pretending to be fatigued. The slight pant was a bit too consistent to be real.
I'm glad I was able to reach you. The ship will be arriving shortly after Violo casts his spell.
Oh, really? Why not before? Wouldn't he be distracted?
He'd be near half power, making him a very large threat. The spell is more than likely going to damage him. It's when he's weak that we can strike.
To anyone else, that would have sounded reasonable. I could hear the implication. Violo would be too weak to protect me. Well, no thanks?
What?
I'll give them some credit. They managed to really sound surprised and hurt. I'd rather stay.
David, have they put some kind of spell on you? You know they're dangerous, right?
I do. They're very dangerous, but I trust that they won't hurt me.
All they know how to do is hurt people.
I think their flowers would say otherwise. Yeah! Amare's stunned silence had me grinning. So, thanks, but no thanks. You can tell the ship to turn around.
I see. Well, I hope you're ready to live with that decision.
I very much am.
I reached out to the room around me. I felt the stone and plants slowly rouse, groggier than usual. Within a few moments, they snapped awake, bristling at the intruder. Ha! Goodbye, Amare. The orb was forced to flee. Okay, time to finish getting ready. They said the spell would really start around lunch.
I can't believe that little king tried to attack some of our flowers. Humans are so brutal to each other for no reason.
My love.
At least we were able to fend them off. I hope it didn't tax your body too much, my love.
My sunshine.
Of course not, my sunshine.
Treasure.
Violo stood up from the seat and moved over a space, patting for me to sit down.
Good morning, sleepyhead. Someone has grown fond of sleeping in late.
It's a nice change of pace. Amare tried to contact me, by the way. I drove them out, don't worry.
What did they say?
The expected stuff. They seemed quite surprised I wanted to stay. I told them to just back off.
If only it were that easy. We'll need to keep our heads on a swivel.
I will, but there are better things to talk about. The two walked me through the spell to come. It went over my head in more than a few places, but it sounded genuinely good. I helped the pair finish writing runes wherever they needed them. It felt nice to be a contributor again. Eventually, we made our way down to the heart chamber. When we were deep beneath the island, I saw something unexpected. Oh wait, is that his real body just chilling? A Violo. The Violo, presumably, hovered above the waters of the pool. Cool. A wild mane of dark brown curls poured down his shoulders. A simple toga hung low on his hips, the ends of it hanging far past his feet. Gold-filled scars and normal scars covered far more of his body, marring freckled flesh. Intermixed with rivers of gold were cracks of white. His beautiful eyes glowed with possibility. Magic swirled around him like a living thing. The Violo that had walked down with us went to go rest against a wall, slumping down.
Enjoying the view, treasure? I'm afraid you won't get to see it often.
I mean, yeah.
Careful now. Don't give him too much of an ego.
The banter died down quickly. Violo had to focus, after all. I felt the eternal vibration of the heart chamber pick up. The magic around him glowed brighter and brighter before darkness opened up to scatter over dimmer parts. Violo's face contorted slightly in pain as the darkness bit new gashes into his left arm. He managed to wrangle the darkness, only letting it devour old energy, leaving room for some light to glow brighter. The heartbeat grew faster and faster. The magic accelerated far beyond what I could comprehend. I had to cover my ears and struggle to keep my breathing steady. Vivere reached over and helped me stay up straight. Only once a majority of the net of lights Violo had around him looked bright and evenly distributed did he drop the spell. He plummeted down into the water. Vivere and I hurried to his side.
Fantastic!
It worked! You're hurt. You said it wouldn't hurt you. I said it wouldn't kill me.
Violo!
Both me and Espoir in the game say in unison.
He just let out a wheezing laugh. The new wounds were still refusing to heal. Please tell me you figured out how to fix this. Vera and I both began to scold him. He just laughed. I'd felt so normal to fuss over this reckless little genius. I wondered when it became so natural to do so. That thought faded away. I had much more interesting things to worry about. The snake certainly did try to kill me in the days to come. It was a persistent foe, but we overcame it each time. Once the devil seemed defeated, Pario truly began to relax and thrive. The new bond I'd found only grew stronger by the year. After the gods were slaughtered, I'd be allowed back into the seas again. A Violo puppet was always beside me, and Vivere would arrive on my ship frequently. Together, we became a new ghost story to haunt the high waters. The mysterious Duvid and her 2 husbands. That wasn't the best part, though. For the first time since I was a child, I had a home to go back to. I barely stepped onto the sand before Violo pounced on me.
Treasure!
I laughed and fell backwards, submitting to the flurry of affectionate kisses. I used an arm to keep him steady and hug him close. Violo, we literally just talked 10 minutes ago.
10 minutes too long. I missed you every second.
I swear.
I hope you two know that I'm not following you in there.
I looked up to find Vivere looking down at us with a fond smile on his face.
It is far too chilly for this kind of nonsense.
It is midday during one of the hottest months of the year.
For you, my dear.
He walked over the water to extend a hand down to help us up. Violo and I didn't even have to share a look to share the same idea. We're gonna get him. We're gonna pull him in the water.
No!
Violo and I laughed when Vivere fell into the water.
Booty holes,
Vivere says elegantly. Vivere pouted before leaning forward to kiss my cheek.
Treasure.
Welcome home, Treasure. It's always good to have you back.
It's good to be back. After all, who knows if another dashing mercenary will come to sweep you off your feet.
I love you.
Never. We love you too much for
I
that.
love you.
May this love find everyone who seeks it. Far, far too much. It's not a possibility.
Glad to hear it. After so many years of being the one left behind, I'd finally been chosen. It felt amazing. Romantic end. Forever yours. Aww. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So if you're feeling that kind of ended in a rush, I believe that the artist had some problems, and they just did their best. The developers, the people who worked on this game, they did their best to try to cobble together as best an ending as they could. I like these two. I don't know if I can get any of a better ending than that. I think in one of the videos I got the bad ending, and it was very sad, but I am very happy to be a part of this polycule. And I'm sure there's many other endings and routes, but I'm happy with this ending. I'm pretty happy with this ending. And since it's been a while, if you'd like to know who Hamos is and the adventure we had with him, he is from the game Squarium Still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And if you would like to watch me play more amazing visual novels, feel free to peruse around my channel, and don't forget to like, subscribe, or interact in any way that's comfortable for you, because we're trying to make it to 100,000 subscribers. Well, until next time, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care of yourself, have a great night, and remember, there is always hope.